5, 4, 3. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the midday fun that is the Wednesday NES block. I'm here playing Gaiapolis. I'm aaron2u2. A quick story about Gaiapolis. Per the Wikipedia page, this is an arcade game that was ported to the NES by Sachin. Sachin is the Taiwanese company that basically pirated and did all sorts of fun shenanigans to bring us lots of amazing games. And yes, this may be the best Sachin game on the NES, which is not the best either. So anyway, the storyline from this game, and I'm going to tell you right now because the game will not tell you. We can play as either Gerard Himmers, Elaine Shee, or who is a half fairy character, not a cat girl, or Duke Galahad, who is a lizard person. Actually, I think it's a dragon. So, well, the regular version was actually for an arcade. There was not a, this is the only version, I think, of the NES one. Anyway, and so they are seeking vengeance against Zarhark, the Zarhark Empire, led by the King of Darkness. And there's your story, because the game will not provide you with anything. So we can pick between 3 characters. As I said, here is Elaine Shee, except they called her Amy. Duke Galahad is called Lynn. And we have Gerard Himmers as Ken. So I guess they only had 3 letters that they could use for the names and decided to go this way. Anyway, we're going to go hit started in, well, I don't know how to hit buttons, so we just got started there. So here we are, wandering the town of, well, I don't know what this is. In fact, it's been very difficult for me to figure out anything about this game because it does not line up with the arcade game very well at all. And yes, I do not know if that has something to do with the particular version of the game I have, but it gives you 99 credits, so we should not be in danger of failing this speedrun. The names of the people on the dev team, that's amazing. So what you're seeing right now is our primary offense, which is to hit people with our tonfa here. These chests give items that give us experience. Later we'll see ones that give us life and magic. As you can see, I've taken a few hits, but we're not really worried about dying right now. It is very important to get the early game experience because experience increases your attack power, and attack power increases how fast you kill enemies, and that's important. If you look at the level and do the math, you can kind of figure out a trend, but I don't have it exactly plotted out. There we got some fish, which was some hit points and some more experience. Oh. You will be rioting. There's no way I'm going to 1cc this. Some of the bosses are nearly impossible to get through without taking just a bunch of random damage. There are bosses. And I will show off something here in just a moment. Here it is. Whoosh. That's our special move we can do. We can just do a dash and kick, which is just wonderful. So useful. It works out okay. This is the version I came across. I have a bit of a story about it, but I'll get to that in a moment, about how we ended up playing this particular game. I'm going to wait till we get a little bit more into the game, though. So there's some life. Some more life. We didn't need it. I haven't quite memorized what's in every thing yet, so we will open some chests that we don't need to, and I will try to skip a bunch, especially later, when the game does not give you as many experience drops. And at that point, it just doesn't matter. So, alright, first boss. This guy actually appears later, and I think he has the same hit points later, too. But I will be doing over 100 points of damage by that point, and he will not be too scary. But he summons his blue ninjas here. Come on. So let's just do some of this. I just wanted to have some fun. That's another special ability you can do, but that one takes your hit points. So I don't suggest doing it, because then you die pretty quickly. Yes, the arcade game, 100%. If you really want the full experience of this game, go ahead and do that. But yes, the spin kick's pretty cool. And we opened the road to the Demon Island. Let's go. There's our story. Yeah, we already lost the 1cc, unfortunately. I'm glad so many people know about this game. I'm amazed because I did not know about it. I learned about this game. There we go. It's a bit of a complicated story, but I manage a NES game world record list. It's what I decided to do is go through every licensed NES title and write down who has the world record for the main categories. And as a result, when I decided to expand that to include, you know, unlicensed games and then homebrew and all of the Famicom games and stuff like that, I eventually came across this, which didn't have an NES world record for one player, but it had a two-player world record. Oh, come on, there we go. Hitboxes are sometimes a little bit tricky. Yeah, Sachin basically was like, this in some ways feels like they were holding the people who made the original Gaiapolis hostage and were demanding more money to not release it in this fashion. It's still a fairly interesting game, but it is very straightforward and very basic. Oof, the disembodied or the headless here are the first really annoying enemy, because they actually swing at you before you can kill them most of the time. And they do move in a very funky manner. But I'm sorry, Kyoku. I'm laughing because yeah, this is that I want to go to the arcade and play Gaiapolis. We have Gaiapolis at home. So, you know, that sort of meme. So again, we're doing pretty well. But I came across this list as I was working on my NES world record list, which I did for other reasons. I kind of just wanted to see how competitive NES speedrunning was, and you know, and isolating it down to where I had basically one person per game seemed to be an interesting way to do it. So we've gained a number of magic buffs. I think this is the highest tier magic we can have. I will cast it once and then never cast magic again because it's kind of slow. You see, I'm not using these special attacks very much because, one, they're a little bit unwieldy. They require you to stop and input certain commands while holding the block button, which I don't think actually blocks anything. Now, she's wearing pants. These are definitely pants. They're just, you know, they're kind of skin tight and so on. Maybe a bit of a leotard. You could go that far. All right, more fish. But we pick her because she actually does the most damage out of the three starting characters. She has the least amount of life, but life is not really a huge concern when you have, you know, infinite credits, more or less. One more guy, come on, there he is. Okay, here's our first boss. We will use our magic here on this boss. And we're just gonna stand right on top of him. And here's our spell. Look at his life in the bottom corner, 2148. We're still magic. There we go. We did 250-ish damage to him. And we glitched the screen, which is cool. And I'm just gonna keep taking damage to do damage here. His hitbox is actually not his head. It's right about here on his arms, which when he's not spinning crazy, you can basically just not take damage standing right here and hit him over and over. Now, I've tried using the spin kick on him. Every single ability you use does the same amount of damage. It's all based off of your level, like your attack power is. Here's a death. And we're back to life. So that's about all that is. It doesn't take too much to it. But, alright, we're almost done. We can look, we're 281, 229, 177, 125. Again, 73, 2 more hits. And there he is. And now to celebrate, I'm just going to do this a few times. Because you get all your hit points back anyway. So, thank you for the coin. Now, The Wise says, thank you for saving our town. May God protect you. It's just The Wise. Not The Wise Man. The Wise. Alright. I can kick those one dudes down in one shot now. These guys I still want to try to hit twice before they come get me. And now we are coming across one of the more annoying enemies in the game. These stupid skeleton legs have a really terrible hitbox, and if you don't like chain them right away, they will run away and be a gigantic, obnoxious problem. So, yes, Mr. Santini got it. The skeleton legs. So, I'm going to occasionally use that ability here just to try to save time with the skeleton legs, even though it's going to result in me dying a little bit more, just because them wandering off can be a huge problem. So you'll see when I line up on them, I go down a little bit, because when they die, that way I can hit their legs immediately. Come on. There we go. In fact, I'm going to go out of my way just to focus on that dude and not worry about the headless dude there. And now we have Whip Lady. I don't have names for these characters because as far as I can tell, there's no English translation of an instruction manual on the internet. If there is, I missed it and I apologize. But so I've come up with my own brilliant names, such as Whip Lady. Sometimes you have to scroll the screen to a particular spot to get things to appear. There we go. Yep. One more dude. If they get inside of your hitbox, they can be a problem. Because when they are right on top of you, you can't hit them. Come on. There we go. Lady Belmont. Linda, that was who I was thinking of. It was Dragon Warrior. So this is a bit of a little trick here. You can go up that doorway, but in the midst of a speed run, it's not useful. So we're just ignoring those two chests because I swear every time I get them, I just pop into that top door. And it's about a 20-second time loss for, I think, what is more life, which is not something I really care about. So, like, again, we die. You know, not... And this guy, what are you doing up here? Okay, we got 4 hit points left. We're almost dead. Oh, I was doing that wrong. I was tapping the wrong button. Got her. Okay, that was a waste of time because I didn't need either of those. Thank you again for the coin weapon. Much appreciated. Screen scrolls on its own, which is like the only real time it does that. Come on, skeletons. We got him. Stupid skeleton legs. I actually thought of a bunch of stuff to talk about so I wouldn't just be complaining about the skeleton legs, but I'm kind of doing okay on them. surprisingly. So I have gained more magic, but I do not plan on casting it, which can be a little tricky because the way the buttons work, A is your attack button, which is what you're seeing me do 90% of the time. To dash kick, you have to hold B down and tap the direction you're facing twice. You can only dash the direction you're facing. To do that whirlwind kick thing where she's standing on her head, you have to... Dang it, I'm starting to flicker out a little bit. It's another thing. The game has some of those NES issues where it can flicker at you a bit and your character just disappears. It's really lovely. There we go. That was perfectly timed. Alright, another boss. We're not going to cast spells because I just don't see the point. He turns to a ball. We're still going to attack the ball even though the ball hurts us because it's just basically the fastest thing to do here. Unless you're just saving a life, like saving a death at the end, is just to stand on the boss's heads and swing down because it doesn't seem to ever damage you. Oh, come on. There we go. Come on. Like his claws aren't quite hitting me now. And yeah, here we go. There is a game FAQ page for this game, and it is, I guess if you've never played it before, it might be slightly useful, but it really looks like somebody played it once and wrote it. So, which is not an offense to the guy. I learned about this game because it was one of the few games I saw that didn't have speedruns yet, even though it was on SRC. Yeah, so we get to wait. Warriors are all encouraged at the recovering of the temple. Thank you. We were encouraged by the recovering of the temple, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure what I was encouraged by, but... Now, these dudes are a bit annoying. They're not too challenging. Their hitbox is actually kind of off. It's a lot easier to hit them from the top or the bottom, but because of the way they move, it's easier to go after them from the side. I don't know what to call them, like maybe gorillas. I'm sure there's probably a more interesting name for them. Come on. I'm just standing on top of her. That's great. Alright, more magic, which we didn't need. And now that's some experience. And a little bit of life. There's our blue guys from earlier in the game. They still only take 2 hits. Come on, with lady. And yeah. But one thing I found interesting about the game FAQ is that it doesn't know about any of the special attacks at all, which aren't the most obvious things, but you eventually figure out that the B button does more than this. Oh, I missed him. That's the problem with the kick, is it's actually pretty hard to line up. I use it sometimes as like in that sort of scenario, but yeah, the attack range is pretty small, and there we go. This is, if I remember right, this is one of the more crowded scenes in the game. This or the one after it. Really start seeing a bunch of enemies when you can't quite annihilate everything. You start getting a bunch of screens at the end of the game where it's just filled with enemies, but you're 1- and 2-shotting everything, so it doesn't feel so bad. That crown, I think, is the biggest experience gainer of the game. Come on. So while we're, messing around with all this, I did want to mention one of the things that came about from me working on this NES games list was finding out what licensed games in the US, which didn't include this one. I just played this one kind of on a lark, and it wound up being kind of fun. And I thought it would be fun to show off here. But made a list of what games were left, licensed games in the US PAL regions that did not have speedruns, and there weren't that many, which I guess probably isn't that surprising. Yeah, now we're starting to get our character disappearing a lot because the game doesn't like this much stuff happening at once. So I kind of put a call out to some people. I mean, like, maybe this year we can push to get all of the remaining NES games to have speedruns. Okay, this boss is super difficult in that he cannot damage you. They did a bad job of programming this one. I am invincible. He cannot do anything to me. So I'm just trying to keep him flashing as much as possible, but his hitbox is a little finicky. So we're just gonna do this for a minute, and hopefully he just keeps moving like this. And then we get him down pretty quickly. This is the second to last boss. Yeah, they did a good job here. Boss literally cannot damage you. And that was the second to last boss. We'll just... Oh! That's when the game decided to pause. So it's recorded. Having courage, determination, and willpower is the only way to defeat viciousness. I don't think they realized I am the viciousness now. So this is our last sequence. This is just a massive monster gauntlet. Almost everything in the game in some form, except for those bubbles at the beginning, the eye bubbles, I think. All just keep reappearing over and over. We're going to skip most of the chests. If it makes me go even remotely out of the way, we're not going to do it. Because we might be on PB pace here, actually. We'll see. There's still a lot of stuff that's up in the air as far as that goes, but... my PB is 24:57, I think. So we're actually doing a pretty good job right now. I'm just gonna ignore all of the chests as much as I can. Oh yeah, big corridors. That is all what speedrunning is about. The enemies are disappearing on me. That's actually an OBS thing. It does that to me sometimes on various NES games. Oh, it's magic. I don't care about magic. These blue guys are really strong, but they're also really easy to kill at this point. I'm one-shotting the whip ladies now, so we're just cruising through this. But I do expect to take a death in a moment here. And, well, you know, maybe we'll get some health and we won't have to. Oh, come on. Ah, she hit me kind of off kilter, so... Those red guys have been in this game since the beginning, and they are way outclassed now. Long screen. We only have one or two more of these left, I think. And we got killed. Finally. You have to be careful because you have to hit start to activate the continue screen. But if you press it before, it just pauses the game pointlessly. So I missed the health. Come on. There we go. Get out of here, whip lady. Oh man, I was too far over. There we go. And is this it? Nope. Maybe we got one more to go. Come on. Don't care. Just booking it. a little bit of health. Okay, so we had a lot more to go than I thought. I might not quite be on the pace I thought I was. But it's hard to tell when this level is just corridors. And there we go, we got downed again. It's about, what, 5 seconds to die, maybe, which is about how long it takes to go out of your way for a chest. These rude people not respawning quick enough. More magic that we're not going to cast. And this is the last screen before the final boss. Come on. Aw, the audio dropped. Aw. Well, that is a world record. There we go. So that's it. That's Gaiapolis. And she just stands on this thing and you hit a button. After going through many fights, they finally defeat the evil and now everybody is on the way home. That's it. So yeah, that's Gaiapolis. I found this by scouring through SRC, finding a game that didn't have a world record, and I was like, hey, let's try this. And I've improved it by about 4 or 5 minutes since we started. That's why it's so far under the estimate. I was pretty sure the estimate was going to be safe, but then I kept beating it. So, but thanks everybody for the GGs and the WRs. Got a marathon world record, but truthfully, I could probably still shave another minute off of this just by knowing which chest to skip. Because again, magic is slow. We don't want to cast magic. But I do want to give a couple of shout outs here real quick at the end. Thank you again, RGLTV, for letting me run on Retrothon. I believe this is, let me do the math, 8, 16, 21, 30th. This is the 30th game that I've done a speed run for. 30th different game. Well, no, 29th different game, but 30th game I've done a speed run for now on Retrothon, which is pretty exciting. And 9 of them this year, which is a personal record. I don't know what the actual record is, but I'm pretty excited about it. And yeah, just another shout out. If anybody is interested in learning and creating some speedruns that don't currently exist for the NES, we have 22 games left on the Nintendo, the TMR list, the official licensed PAL NTSC releases on the US that do not have speedruns. If you... Oh, good. You can hear my neighbor's dog. That's great. If you're interested in trying to pick up one of them or something like that, let me know. Or I've posted the list before in the RGL TV Discord, and I'll probably do it again before too long to try to get another push because I think it's grown a little stale. But and I've been distracted too. The entire month of May for me is a celebration of good Koei games and some bad ones, but basically not anything they've made recently because they're kind of terrible game company nowadays. But and I plan on hitting up a few of them to try to clear off in the month of May. So that's it for me. Thanks again to everybody. Thanks again for hosting me here, and stick around for I believe Mooware is coming up next with another NES game. So excited for that, and we'll see you all next year. Peace.